coming up to 8:44. Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Martin and Ellie.
And it's time to go through the papers. Joining us this morning is former Conservative advisor Claire Pearsall and writer and journalist Andy Jones. So we're going to start with this story. Andy, so I want to show your papers.
Yes.
Here, Martin. This is a story in The Eye about a doctor condemning onlookers filming CPR.
Absolutely. There's been lots of footage arrive on social media of people filming the lifeguards as they were desperately trying to save lives in the Bournemouth Sea over the last week. It's a tale of sort of two groups of teenagers. One, well, obviously the ones that were fatally injured, but also of one group of teenagers who were lifeguards desperately running up and down the beach trying to get aid to them performing CPR. These are young people themselves, obviously in a terrifying situation that, yes, they're trained for, but you never anticipate that you'd have to deal with in such a scale as they had to the other day. And then there's other young people filming and offering a running commentary, and not even a sort of news commentary of, oh my word, what has happened, laughing at the lifeguards as they run at the beach, saying, run, Forrest, run. And then, you know, another young female lifeguard carrying what looks sort of like a bits of a tent or something to cover the injured, and then saying, oh, look, what's going on with this? This looks ridiculous. What's the point of that? And it bleeds into a wider culture, and I know you've got strong opinions about this, about the obsession with filming everything, even when there's no need. Obviously, as a broadcaster, we film things, but we are bound by legal and ethical considerations. Where is this in the public right to know? Is this acceptable to film? And those rules do not apply with social media, and they do not apply when everyone has a camera phone.
Yeah, bang on. And Claire, I want to bring you in here now. There's some footage going around social media at the moment of a bodged and terrible attempt at an arrest. I think it was at Vauxhall bus station, the Metropolitan Police, totally failing to restrain individuals. But there were so many people filming that, and not only that, but they were joining in and helping the people attempting to be arrested. And the curse of social media is that everyone wants to film it. Is it actually hampering the police from doing their job? Because they're so afraid of a bad moment being captured on film, they're almost soft-soaping criminals now.
And that was it. And that was the really depressing thing about that piece of footage, where nobody came to the aid of the police. Nobody thought, these people are doing something that is wrong. They are being arrested by police officers. The police officers are being overpowered. Why don't we help? And I think that everyone has this feeling that they're entitled to film it, they're entitled to put it out on their social media and give their own commentary. And it isn't judged in the same way. People just look at it, no one's permission has been given. As you were just saying, Andy, when you are working on a piece of film, you have to have the correct permissions in place, the legal protections in place. If you're just putting it out onto your social media channels, it could be anybody, and your commentary goes out unchallenged. And I think that's the really sad thing, that nobody challenges it, nobody jumps in and helps anybody anymore, and the police are really frightened to actually do the job that they're employed.
What invasion of privacy of those being arrested and on the scene?
One of the weird things I've noticed about that the police have had to do when arresting individuals is very often it's a stop and search. It's white police officer arrests a young black male, and it's like, well, this is racist. Why are you stopping? Met Police so racist is disgusting. And you can see where that logic comes from with the horrible things that the Met has recently been accused of. But you will then see the Met Police then have to hold up a knife and go, look, behold, we have found a knife.
Yeah.
Because they are then catering to, not the legal courts, which is their job, they're catering to the public opinion all the time.
Yeah.
And the concern then is that they've got a group of individuals around them who are increasingly rowdy, damning them, you're rubbish, you're pathetic, why have you got that guy, etc., etc. And it's like, well, look, we've got to get these knives off our street. We've got to get violent criminals off the street. And the police rightly have been criticised across the land for various instances where they've done wrong, hideous things that we've seen. But also, the great cry from the public is, why aren't they doing more on violent crime? Why aren't they arresting more burglars? Why aren't our streets safe? And if you are trying to arrest someone, it's never going to be a particularly smooth thing. If you're trying to arrest somebody and restrain somebody that doesn't want to be restrained, it's not going to be like you see on the 70s cop shows where you just stick the handcuffs on and it's done in 2 seconds.
There are a lot of people out there saying they wish it was a bit more like that. I mean, that incident at Vauxhall, we basically have they look like students, these coppers. They're completely failing to sort of grapple the situation. They're failing to deal with it to the point where the public, I think they now know that the power is with them. They're emboldened. People were pulling the police off of the people they were attempting to arrest, and nothing was happening. They were just getting away with it.
Yeah, and then that sort of feeds into the rest of the lawlessness that we see frequently, especially in London, with what's going on. The police seem to have no power. They are understaffed. I think they're under-trained as well, and that's not the individual police officers' fault. That is the Metropolitan Police, if we're looking at London, but forces of their own need to make sure that their officers are out there with the correct equipment and the correct attitude, and also just understanding that they are going to have to do something that is not going to be popular with everybody.
Let's get some armed service veterans in there and less students. Anyway, next story.
Yeah, but do get in touch with your views on that story. It's certainly got us talking here this morning, gbnews@gbnews.com. We haven't got long on this paper review, I'm afraid, so I just want to touch on this next story, Claire, in the Times, that British strawberries will be bigger and sweeter this year. That's some good news, isn't it?
It certainly is. British strawberries got to be the best. There's always going to be a Brexit link here because we've got Martin, so always. But this is due to there being a late cold spring has made the strawberries a month later, but they're well worth waiting for. They're going to be sweeter and juicier and just in time for Wimbledon season.
Yeah, because just like grapes, of course, if they stay smaller for longer, then the flavour is more intense.
That's right, they
So
get
it's
a
gonna
chance
be
to rest.
bumper year, and we can't blame Brexit because they're all going to be homegrown beauties.
Yeah, they certainly are. Thank you very much, Claire and Andy. Really, really good to see you both this morning. You're back one more time, are you? Or is that the end?
Not today.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
Well, you've been wonderful this morning.
Thank you
very
for having
much.
us.
It's been really
Thanks for
good
having
to
us.
see you.